Okay, so we're gonna try this again. A take two on this one. I could tell that Simon Pagenaud was in the chat earlier, but I couldn't get him to join, and I don't know why. And I'm not technologically advanced enough to figure it out. And I hope this time it works. Let's see if it works. Oh, it did work. I don't know what. Let's see. I can see it now. We're gonna take this iPad with me because now you guys are looking at my floor. Cool. I think that's why I think it worked. What? I love technology. I love live.
Hey,
I'm
it's working.
I'm so not technologically advanced enough to try and figure anything out in that way. But I was like, you got your wine and I showered, and so we were doing this thing.
I got wine.
Cheers.
I'm ready. Cheers. Is it really
Cheers.
wine? What is this thing?
This is a spritzer.
That's not wine.
Are you going to cheers? Are you gonna cheers and drink?
Of course.
Cheers.
It's aperitif time.
Tell you what, you do have so much facial hair, and it is so
I know.
good to see you.
It's different, isn't it?
It is different. I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, what do
I
you
don't know
think?
either. I don't know either. Yeah. Haley loves it, so it's
I was about
okay.
to ask.
As long as she likes it, it's okay. I don't know if Roger Penske's gonna love it. I don't. I'm okay. I'm better now, but originally it itched too much, and there's way too much maintenance with it.
Oh, too much maintenance. Come on. Really?
A lot of maintenance.
You
Yeah.
do your hair. You put a little like extra in there.
Well, yeah, it takes me an hour and a half to get ready in the morning. So you're adding on top of that the brushing of the beards, the shampooing of the beards. I mean, it's just too much.
So exhausting. So exhausting.
For a guy, it is.
Wait, does it really take you an hour and a half to get ready?
Yeah, I'm a very slow riser, and it's a
Okay.
big struggle in my life, actually. I wish I could get up at 6 and go on and be up and going at 6:30, but I just can't. And time goes by like it's a different time zone. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. It is it's a handicap, really. It's creating a lot of issues in my life.
I believe it. You know, not everybody can't have all of the things, Simon. You know that, right? So just that's
I
maybe
know.
not your strength, and that's
It's
okay.
it's a weakness, that's for sure.
So are you? So is it coffee in the morning? What's your go-to?
Yeah, so I have to put an alarm, otherwise I don't get up until noon. So I put an alarm and I struggle. So there's like a 15-minute buffer between the alarm and me waking up.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it's coffee time. But the biggest thing is Norman takes a lot of my time in the morning because we have this ritual. We go on walks every morning.
Uh-huh. Is that
And
okay? Are we talking post quarantine, or this was before? Now people are saying they
before,
can't see me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm here. I'm just gonna continue to talk. It's more about Simon than me, anyways. Okay, so this is before. This is before quarantine.
yes, yeah, we've since we got him, I've just been doing these walks with him every morning when I get up, and he the moment I get up, like he opens one eye, he's got his ear up, and the moment I leave the bedroom, he's up and going, and we got to go on a walk. If we don't go on a walk, it's a bad day. I mean, it just gets, like a Jack Russell, just wants to do something.
Yeah, well, that's I guess on you guys when you guys got that Jack Russell, knowing the fact what you were getting yourselves into, right?
Yes, absolutely,
How has
absolutely.
how has that quarantine routine changed one way or the other? Has it?
It's well, that routine hasn't changed. It's the same every morning. But even Norman's had to adjust because he travels with us to every races. So he even struggled a little bit at one point. Like you could see, he was just not used to being home and not happy, a bit grumpy. Uh,
We've all been
but
there this last couple of weeks.
yeah, but he's getting used to it. He sunbathe a lot.
Okay.
He loves that. And then on my side of things, I train every morning like I usually would. And then in the afternoon, I train on the simulator and I answer Instagram live videos.
I
That's what I
saw
do.
some of those. Are there's are I, yeah, first okay. I want to go back real quick to, you mentioned adjustments and adapting. I was with Batim. Do you know Batim from BBI Autosport by chance? I was with him yesterday for a chat, and we were talking about
Yeah.
these times and how adapting is so important. And I think like that is that is fascinating. Before we even get into iRacing, how else have you adapted and how quickly you've had to adapt, right?
Yeah, it's been well, first of all, when we got the news that St. Petersburg wasn't happening, we were at the racetrack, and I decided by precaution, I said, listen, we've got all the time in the world now, we're going to drive home. I didn't want to get on the plane, so I decided to isolate myself, March
Just because
15th.
you had been out and you'd been around
Yeah,
people.
I've
Yeah.
been out and I didn't want to be, because I knew I was healthy and I didn't want to be someone that could carry the virus and give it to someone,
Right.
or I didn't want to get sick either. So I just said, okay, let's not take any risk and we're just going to drive home. So we drove home, and the Saturday and Sunday I was a bit depressed.
Yeah.
It was really strange. Like I was supposed to start my season, and since I'm, 10 years old, I've been racing every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, it was like the world stopped.
Right. That
So
purpose, that little bit of a purpose was kind of taken away for a
yeah,
moment.
so then I got on my simulator here on Saturday, Sunday, and I played all day, and I felt depressed. So on Monday, I just decided to put together a routine, train every morning, same time, and get on the simulator a little bit in the afternoon, same time, and do some paperwork at lunchtime, and that was it. That's what I started doing, and
You had to switch that mindset, do a
yeah,
quick shift. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm a very uh, my mind works like that. I've got to have references. If
Sure.
I don't have a routine, I'm kind of lost, and I always
Right.
try to create routines everywhere I go.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like the hardest part about this whole thing is it, well, and now what's interesting is they say like what 28 days to make a habit. So like how this is now our new normal. You getting up and training in the morning and then training with your sim in the afternoon, and how that is now the routine, right?
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting. I talked to Rossi. I think he was like maybe my second chat that I had now, whatever, how many weeks ago, however long we've been in quarantine. And
Yeah, it's a long time now. What, 6 weeks? 5 weeks? No.
I don't know. I was on the road with you guys too. Meekum was still
Yeah.
going while when you guys got called in St. Pete. Meekum, we still had, actually, Seb, what came to Phoenix after
Yeah, I
St. Pete.
saw that. Yeah, he sold his
And
Ford.
yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yes. That was, talk about some nerves. That was
Yeah.
intense.
How was it? Because
How
that
was
was
it?
that was one of the first one that sold, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and it needed. I mean, it was a big deal that weekend, of course, to have it sold. But he came from St. Pete, and I think I think the idea of that purpose that was shifted when I talked to then Rossi after that too, he was kind of like, yeah, it feels like things are missing in my life. But I
Yeah.
think it's important to note though, for especially guys like you, for myself, same thing, right? All my live events went away.
Yeah.
What is really important to you then?
It's true. It changes your perception on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. What
How
has
did you
changed in your life?
adapt?
Yeah.
How did you adapt?
Wait,
Adapt. What did you
mine,
decide to do? Yeah.
I did the same thing. So I spent the first week anxious, right? So like I think I spent the first week of like trying to figure out, okay, no jobs, no source of income for a bit. My mom and dad both have pre-existing conditions, so like how can I help lead from Southern California while they're in Indy? My other
Yeah.
family is in which my they're tuning in. My nephew loves you because the time you went to the racetrack, which is the Indy GP last year, and you won, and you got
Perfect.
you got a photo with your car. But there was the anxieties of what was happening at that time. And then the reality was, oh, I'm now home as well. I mean, but like you spend your time on the road, right? And I do
Yeah.
as well. It's like 5 years, 6 years in a row of over 250 days on the road. So all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait, time out here. Like this is all different. So I think
Yeah.
that first week was anxious. And then the second was when I started doing these, and I kind of was like, okay, this is the time. I had a conversation with my aunt, and she said, what can you do now in these moments that can prepare you for when this all lifts, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's exactly what I needed to hear at that moment.
That's a good
Because,
point.
right? Because,
Yeah.
like, whether it be a physical or a mental state, I needed that routine too. And I needed to kind of shift my mindset to say, okay, well, what I'm solo quarantining. I want to hang out with people that I won't, can't connect with while we're not on the road. What can I do with that? What are some things mentally and emotionally that I can do? I'm a big believer in like mental health awareness. So like diving into like this book, the Book of Joy, and like things like that
Hmm.
that are like, what can we do? And I think that was how I dealt with it in the second week.
Okay.
After that. And then these have been such a blessing because I hope they're entertaining for other people and I hope they're insightful for other people. But like, it's been a joy for me to be able to connect with people that we don't get to see now for however long.
It's true. It's all about interaction. It's crazy because, it's been the same with all my friends in France. We've actually interacted a lot more with FaceTime or Skype. Just, I think this might change the world in many ways. And like you said earlier, it makes you think about life a bit more. Obviously you're taking more time, so you're taking more time to think about your life and what you should be doing. It's very interesting
What is
time
your
for sure.
Have you thought of anything that maybe wasn't of as much value? One of the things I think is fascinating about this time for all of us is the things that matter in lifestyle, in terms of lifestyle. There's no way to show them now, right? Like
Yeah.
your cars and, nice clothes and purses and bags and whatever. It doesn't matter, right?
No,
Because
it doesn't
people
matter
won't go.
anymore.
You can't go show them off anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really interesting way to like kind of, those things are obviously of less value and interest at this moment. Is there anything else that now is highlighted in your world that you maybe weren't putting so much time into before?
Um, Actually, it's just honestly time with Haley, time with Norman. Obviously not being able to go back to France also is a bit of
Yeah.
a, yeah, it's a weird feeling, it's
Is everybody healthy there?
yeah, everybody's healthy right now, so that's really good. But I'm concerned. My dad is owns a supermarket, and he has to remain open, and he's lost half of his employees can't work because of conditions or because of their kids. So he's had to be, every morning at the shop at 4 a.m. and go home at 8 p.m. So it's a big store. We have 250 employees. So
Really? That's an
yeah,
incredible story.
and that is 66. So he's in great shape, but I
I
worry
was gonna
about him.
ask.
Yeah, I worry about him. I worry about his health, and seeing so many people, every day is what's concerning because of how the virus gets around. But yeah, it's a weird situation to be in, to not being able to travel and go wherever you want in the world. That really made me think twice about
Right.
life in general.
Some of that autonomy is taken away, right?
Yeah,
That ability
exactly.
to pick and
Yeah,
choose what it is that you want to do and when
yeah,
and how.
yeah. It's really weird. I'm very fortunate. My loved ones are doing good. I don't, all my friends as well are doing very well. But yeah, it's just a weird situation. But it made me realize that I love competition. It made me realize that no matter what, winning races is really what gets me going. I also realize I can't live without training. It's not
Right.
that I'm not passionate about being at the gym every day and staying fit, but I actually love the feeling of it.
So from the
Um,
endorphin side, like that whole
yeah,
like this kicking, yeah, kicking
yeah.
yourself in the high
So, so I don't. I mean, when I'm going to be retired someday, I guess I'm going to have to train. Otherwise, I'm going to go crazy, I think.
Exactly,
Uh,
and I think that's another hard balance with this whole thing is people staying inside and being isolated, which is wonderful for what the purpose, but trying to find that balance. I've been so grateful for the people who are putting out the Instagram videos and the Zoom videos on working and training. I mean, my living area is small, but like it is a great gym over here. Like, like just trying to
yeah.
find that because I'm the same way. I'm a better person when I can go for a jog or when I can lift some weights, and that shift in the mindset, knowing, okay, you're right. This isn't out of physical fitness. This is a mental. I need this for my mental and my
Yeah.
emotional well-being too.
Yeah. That certainly. I knew I was doing it for a purpose. But I also realized that it's making me feel better. So that is something I have to keep doing.
Okay, so then I have a question for you. As I've been diving into the Book of Joy and just like trying to define that word, competition brings you joy, winning brings you joy, because various reasons, of course. What else brings you joy? I mean, or I guess what would be the better way of saying that is, what is your definition of joy?
Well, joy is being loved to me. That's, being loved by the people around you and
Mm-hmm.
friends and being able to, interact without looking at your watch and just, enjoying a glass of wine and just letting time, basically be the flow of your, being the flow of your life. It's,
Yeah.
I always compete against time, and I feel
I
like
didn't think about it
it
that
is
way.
interesting to let the time do the rest for you right now. So it's what brings me joy? It's a great question. I just think, quite frankly, the materials of having nice cars. I love that. Having
Yeah,
the
of
cars
course.
that I dream of. It's not a nice car. It's the car that I dream of.
The dream of. Correct.
But like you said, it doesn't matter right now. And quite frankly, I could sell a lot of my cars right now because I don't see the need. But
Yeah.
I think right now, I think it's just about having things that keeps me going, like training gives me
Yeah.
joy, being with my friends gives me joy, drinking wine gives me joy, good food. It's pretty simple, very
Yeah.
simple stuff, and maybe that's why I can't come up with something, but
Yeah. Now that's
it's just simple
I
stuff.
and that's what I mean. That is the clear definition of joy from that mindset and the perspective. I just think it's interesting because I think joy is one of those words that completely means something different to everybody, and I find it fascinating. Okay, so out of curiosity, before we go into competition, cars. What cars do you have right now? What are you?
I have a few.
I
I have
believe
a
that.
few,
I believe it.
but more and more I'm going toward vintage cars. And one car you might know that I'm crazy about is I bought a Renault 5 Turbo 2, and there are a
Wait,
few in California.
wait. Okay,
Yeah.
wait. How did you? Wait, where? From California?
No, there are a few in California, but
Oh,
mine
there's a
comes
few.
from,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
actually came from France. Well, it's a weird story on that car. So let me explain what that car is. It's uh, during the time of Group B rally back
Mm-hmm.
in
Oh
the
yeah.
World Championship. They made these special homologations for cars to compete in rallies, but they had to be
Uh-huh.
for sale on the road. And they
Okay.
had to make 200 models to be able to compete. So it was a bit the same time as DTM as well.
Yeah. You're right.
So they made this really not pretty car. It was called the Renault 5, okay? And it had a front engine and front
Mm-hmm.
wheel drive, and it was really just go grocery getter, really. So what they did is they put the engine in the back.
Uh-huh.
They made the rear wide, really wide. They removed the seats. They just put the engine at the back, and they made it as light as they could. And they put a big engine in it with rear-wheel drive. Um,
Fascinating.
so
How
that's
many
always
did they
been,
make? You know, how many went in production?
yeah. So they made a total of 3,500,
Okay.
but the version that I have was the version for the homologation. So mine is the number 200 of 200 made.
Wow.
So
Wait, can
it's
you
my
actually, I might have to shoot you a
pretty
note
cool.
after this. I might, but will you send me a photo or post it on, or like send it, I'll post it. I think that's super
Yeah,
fascinating.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's one of them. That's one of them. What else you got?
Well, I have, I'm a Chevy driver and I love my pickup truck, but I do have
I would love to see you in a pickup truck. I
well,
just feel like your beard
yeah,
really is pickup truck right now.
it is, and country music, which I don't like, but that might work anyways.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect
Uh,
fit.
yeah. So I just got the Corvette Grand Sport from Winning Indy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's red
How
wine.
is that drive?
It drives really well, but the best thing about it is the color.
Mm.
It's this color.
Oh, no way. Like a
Yeah,
dark,
it's
a
really,
burgundy or a, ooh,
it's
that's
really
super
cool
cool.
color. I really love that car.
And you know, I bet that color in the sunlight actually is a different, it shifts and changes a little bit, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
They called it, yeah, in France it's called lit de vin. So
Lit
it's
de
just
vin.
a
How do you say?
lit de vin.
Lit de vin.
Lit de vin. Yeah, it's like it's just
It's one of them, for sure.
I can't say it in English. Burgundy.
Mm. But I bet
uh,
it does change in the sun, though. I bet that is gorgeous.
it is gorgeous. And but to go back on the being a Chevy driver, they're gonna hate me, but I do have a Ford Mustang, which I think you've seen a '68.
Mm-hmm.
and
That's not
it's
technically, honestly, when it goes to classic cars,
exactly right.
there's a true difference between Chevy now and what in the classic car world.
It's true.
My opinion.
And that was my first classic car, and we actually designed it with Haley. We designed it together.
So
Um,
cool.
it's a flat black, and it's lowered, big wheels, but it's all original mechanically except for the brakes and power steering. So pretty cool.
Is Haley into the cars in
Yeah.
general? Was that kind of connecting piece between you two, or did she grown to love it?
Haley loves cars. She owns a BMW M3, so
Oh, right on.
uh,
Yeah, that's awesome.
she's a car girl. Her mom is a car girl as well, so I think she got it from her mom. Her mom drives really fast, too fast. Um, so I always dreamt about a Mustang because my grandpa had a Mustang. He imported it to France,
I was gonna
and
ask.
I always heard stories about that Mustang. I found one in California, and we built it.
What? That's wild. No, I think on the classic car, of course, like we had you at Meekum before, but I think classic cars are like a completely different level of kind of what automotive represents for people, you know? And I think one of the other angles of that, and I've tried to figure out, is there a way, I mean, do you have any thoughts on how do we keep the passion of these classic cars alive? Obviously, like it's always because of something, right? Like,
Yeah, it's
like that
crazy.
idea that,
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry to interrupt.
no,
It's for me the cars that I'm interested in these days. It's all cars that I've seen in movies. It's cars that I have seen on racetracks. It's cars that my dad drove, or my grandpa, and it's sometimes they can be ugly, but it means something to me, and that's why that's why I love these cars. So, but more and more as I'm aging, and I'm not that old.
I was gonna say you're not that old.
uh,
You don't have that much gray in there, do you?
no,
It's not
I
very
don't,
gray.
which is nice. But the more I'm aging, the more I'm going toward classic cars, and I'm losing interest in sports cars or from today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, people are curious, real quick, about those helmets behind you. What do you have? What's
Oh yeah. I think I saw people are probably interested in that one.
Yeah, I
So
would say that's probably true.
yes,
Wow.
so that's Ayrton Senna 1988.
How did you end
Um,
up with that?
well, I'm a big fan of Ayrton, so I found a way.
Here's the thing. Here's what I love. This is okay. Can I just say this about race? You being a race car driver, and people have shirts, attire, hats, helmets, pieces of your car, everything, and they've collected it. And that idea that like you are, see, you
Now you're gonna
are
have the
as
hat.
much a fan of
Yes. I'll show you something
you're a
else.
true fan too.
I'm going to show you something else that's also very crazy. I just got it, and this is very special to me.
Oh wow.
So that's his first suit from his first win in Formula One. And
Wow.
I've got the certificate of authenticity here. So pretty cool.
Simon, that is incredible.
Yeah, that's very special to me. It's the reason why I love Senna is when I was a kid, and
Wow.
I started to get interested in Formula One when I was 4. And what attracted me to racing was his battles with Ayrton Senna on the track. And I just saw two people just fighting wheel against wheels. And I saw someone with a drive, with motivation and something special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then as I got a little older, I just, got very interested in who he was. And I could see everything he said meant something to me, more than any other drivers. So it's been a fascination to me. It's been my hero. Yeah.
When people then talk to you maybe about their admiration for what you've done or the way that you live your life or whether it be on or off track, do you ever channel kind of that mentality knowing that he did that for you? Or do you ever try to do that?
I don't understand
Meaning that
exactly
like,
what you mean.
well, I feel like people look up to you in a way that you're looking up to him, right? Like this idea that like
Yeah.
people are kind of saying they can see in you the determination and they can see in you that drive and that focus. And I think the way that the way that you have obviously interpreted that and how you probably have generated that into your driving style a little bit, maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, there's a little bit of that.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure. Yeah.
does it ever cross your mind that maybe somebody is seeing that in you and trying to channel Simon Pagenaud into them?
Uh, no.
No,
No,
I bet they
because
are.
I don't see myself as I look at Ayrton Senna. Ayrton Senna to me is a god. He's probably, you know, don't quote me, but my God, he's the God of my world, right? So
Sure.
I don't put myself up there with him. I just try to, understand what he
Embody
was
that.
doing well and, emulate what he was doing. But I feel, I feel some sort of a connection with him, which, I'm a little bit of a spiritual person, so it would freak out some people if I explained everything, but I
You have a
I
very
just
curious
feel
person over
connected.
here, but yeah. But I mean
Yeah.
that's true. I mean that's the soulfulness of that. Obviously, you're kind of living in it. Is that your office or your man cave or
This is my trophy room,
or
but
your
still
trophy
need.
or trophy room? You
Yeah,
have
my
a few
truth.
trophies in there.
Yeah, can show you a few. I still need to organize a bit, but
That
those are my pole
now.
position trophies.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you have a few of those.
But we just moved in, so we
Congratulations.
thank you. So
And
that's.
Haley's okay with you having up that full on room?
I'm sorry, what?
Haley enjoys the trophy room enough. Does she have a trophy
Uh,
room yet for her
it's
own?
kind of my room, so she don't really come here much.
What means the most to you in there? Say you have something that you need to grab one of. What is it in there? I mean, minus the
Uh,
Senna stuff. Is there anything that is representative to you?
well, the Borg Warner, yes, the Borg Warner trophy, but it's downstairs and it's being seen when you walk in, so that's pretty cool. But I've got this. That's recent.
Okay, yeah, that you should grab that. If you are running out of your house and you can grab one item, that's what it should be.
Well, I mean, it's my protection. It's if someone breaks in, I'm gonna, slice him up.
Hold on. Let's. Wasn't
I got,
there? Wasn't it Mid Ohio like
yes, that's right.
2017 that you or 18 that you were wearing maybe a Star Wars mask or something?
That's
Why did you
correct.
dress up? Why? I don't know. Remember why I know that?
There was
I don't know.
a there was a movie came out. One of the first Lucasfilm movie came out that weekend, I think. And so I thought, hey, we're gonna do something a little funny here. So we, try to stay entertaining. So I wore a mask, and some people were wondering what the hell was going on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are wondering, but for some reason that stuck out to me. I appreciated it. If nobody else did, I know that I did.
Sorry, I had to put it down because it's a dangerous weapon
It's prized
if it's
possession.
not used the right way.
If I respect, I will no argument there. I respect it totally. I do find it funny. I think one thing about the Team Penske, and I think a lot of people probably talk about this, is y'all do have fun.
Yeah,
You guys are a fun team.
we
I mean,
we
I'm
have a
sitting around.
great team of drivers with really different mentalities and very sometimes different culture.
Yeah.
But I must say, the marketing team, the PR people, was Jeremy Troiano and Sarah Bonkowski, and I'm going to forget some people here, but they're the one that have put together the Penske Games and really allowed us to show who we are.
So that's
Before that, the Penske drivers were accused of being, or not showing their emotions or anything, which was not true. Just because we were black doesn't mean we don't have
you guys aren't
emotions.
villains. You aren't villains.
Exactly.
What are you?
So I think that really helped. It helped for people to see who's Brad Keselowski, who's Blaney, who's an awesome guy, by the way. You should have him on your chat. He's fun.
Absolutely. I'm now in the NASCAR world. I miss you guys in IndyCar, but I'm now in the NASCAR. Perhaps I can see if he's available here in the coming weeks. But yeah, I think I think it is partly because you guys were wearing black. I do think you guys have a villain approach, a villainous kind of like, I don't know, like yeah, you guys mean business. And that's intimidating. And it's probably like actually for good reason. But I do think that overall, like y'all have a good time.
So I got to tell you a little story. I did some research today on a beard, wearing a beard, and uh, talking
How
about
cute was it?
intimidation, the prehistorical man, and this is a fact, okay? Because I wouldn't say this if I didn't study it. The
Of course.
prehistorical man wore a beard to protect themselves from the elements, but also for intimidation, because it changes the angle of their jaw, so it looks more intimidating.
You are, and you put on a black race suit, and I'm telling you what. I mean, you probably won't be in black anytime in the near future with your coloring of your race suits, but intimidating.
That's
Is that
right.
really true? What
The
other fun
beard,
facts do you have?
if it's intimidating,
Yeah.
are you intimidated right now?
Yes, I am.
Well,
Yes, I
then it
am.
is true. I haven't seen anyone.
Okay, wait. What other fun facts? What are more Simon fun facts?
More
You got
what,
any
sorry?
more? What are
On
more
the beard?
Simon fun facts? About anything. Tell me, what's a fun fact that you know of?
Oh, that I know of? I know a
Yeah.
lot of things on beard because I've been doing studying. So, did you know Alexander the Great actually asked his soldier to shave their beard because he was worried people, I mean, enemies, would grab them by the beard and snap their neck. That's a fact.
That is a fun fact. They say
Yeah,
women shouldn't wear their hair in ponytails because they could get grabbed on a run or something. So I can that one makes sense.
yeah,
That's a cool fun fact.
yeah.
Okay.
And
All
the
right.
Navy SEALs are the only one allowed to wear a beard.
That's true. Is that true or false?
No, this is true.
Huh.
Yeah,
Who knew?
yeah.
Okay. I like this. But see, yeah, that's something I would have no idea. But here's the cool part is you wouldn't have known either. I mean, you would have never done this research if it wasn't for quarantine. So
Absolutely
no, I
true.
don't speak French, by the way. If Tristan, you heard me earlier trying to say one word in French, it was not very pretty. I don't.
You don't speak
I think
French?
it's a beautiful. No, I think it's a beautiful language. And I've actually had some wonderful moments in France, but I don't speak it.
No.
I am
Did you
guilty
learn
of.
Spanish?
I tried.
Yeah,
English is good for me.
yeah. English is good. What did you do at school then? Did you not learn Spanish or German?
I tried. Oh, you know what I did do? Actually, because working with Volkswagen over the last years, I did try to do Rosetta Stone German, and I bombed it. It was awful, but I did try, and I don't remember now, but my proudest moment was I learned how to say dump truck, and I was so stoked that I could remember in German dump truck.
It could be
But
useful.
it could be. You never
Yeah.
know. I mean, I did actually, in theory, though, I think working with Volkswagen, that was like my agenda, right? I was like, oh, I'll at least be able to communicate with these people. And man,
Dump
I,
truck.
I clearly could not communicate with them. Okay, let's talk about iRacing because your little
Okay.
wind down Wednesday is actually after a 3 hour practice session of sim.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. It's keeping me busy. Too busy.
But you had a sim before, so you actually this wasn't necessarily a huge change of kind of practicing, if you will.
It was, but so we have a simulator here that's a state-of-the-art simulator that we use with Chevy here in actually in Charlotte. So we
Okay.
spend quite a bit of time with Penske on it to prepare for the race weekend. Usually on a Monday before race weekend,
Oh, you do
every drivers will get on and prepare for their race weekend.
at the
Uh,
shop.
yeah, well, it's by the shop. Yeah, it's around the shop. It's not a Penske thing. It's a Chevy
Okay.
simulator. So all the NASCAR drivers use it. All the sports car drivers use it for the Corvette program, and I believe, and us, and that's it. So it's quite busy.
Yeah, I
Um,
can imagine so.
so
And is it more dialing in, just out of curiosity, is it more dialing into the tracks you guys are going to be going to so you understand
yeah,
or is it more being behind the wheel and trying to have a pseudo car control kind of experience?
it's more to basically develop the drivers. So push the drivers to their limit and compare them to each other to
Mhm.
help them improve. And also it's for car setup. So then we set the car up on the simulator and we show up at the track and we try not to make changes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
ready to go. So
Wait,
because of that, I when I go home, I didn't want to get on my simulator because I was burnt out.
Hmm.
Um, and I realize now that I would be a better driver if I trained more on my own simulator too. So now I'm going to have to do that.
So that will change. So that's another change that you've kind of learned in this process, that
Yeah,
actually is a
yeah,
factor.
it allowed me to work on details. It allowed me to work on my muscle memory and a bit more my reflexes as well. So,
Mm.
racing is funny because there's so many factors that come into play that sometimes you miss one there, you miss one there. The weekends you win, you usually don't miss anything, but there's more weekends you don't win. So, how could you make that better? And certainly, I feel like the simulator can help you get to a higher level at all time.
Hmm. So then, in kind of respect to what iRacing is, I think this is the conversation that is fantastic in terms of what NASCAR and IndyCar, NBC, SN, and Fox have done to create a racing experience for people at this point in time. And they literally did it in less than like 2 weeks, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
mind blowing that they were able to adapt like that. Um, but do you feel like you get your, obviously, for those who don't know, Simon put it in victory lane the other weekend. cheers, cheers to you on that.
Yes.
I wish you were popping bottles in your own home.
Cheers. I did. It
That
was nice because I
you, Haley, and
finally
Norman
got
were
to enjoy it.
celebrating. Huh?
Yeah, I didn't spray it, so I finally got to enjoy it.
How much out of a bottle that you end up spraying gets out of the bottle on those kinds? Is it all gone usually?
Usually there's like three quarter, three quarter gone, so one quarter left, and that
Not
I
enough.
usually
Not enough
keep
for
it
them.
for the guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let them enjoy that.
yeah.
But yeah, so you put in victory lane in Michigan, but that idea that this entire competition series has been created in like less than 4 weeks. How much of the competition fix are you getting right now?
Definitely. I had the exact same. Well, I put a lot of hours, remember? So
So it
you
means
know,
something differently
yeah,
than others.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I put so much time into it, so much effort that I don't want to wreck in the first corner. So, and I think I'm starting little bit further back than some who used to play it a lot and were used
Sure.
to it. So I've had to do a lot of work, but and I take it as work,
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm having fun. So when I won the race, honestly, I felt the same satisfaction the next day as I would on a normal race weekend. Plus,
Did you
honestly,
really?
I got the press too. So when you read articles about your win, it makes you feel really good. Um, so I got the same fix.
You know what I thought was interesting is the coverage that it's getting. I was looking even earlier today. I'm just seeing how the series was going, who was progressing. It looks like what Will's ahead of you. You're in third right now in points or whatnot, and Will's
Yeah.
in second maybe. But like that idea that like the coverage that this is getting is like we're like watching a real series and a real like people are writing news articles, people are talking about it. Like that to me is so amazing. I'm not what out of curiosity, what do you think this will breed into after we go back to life being opened up again?
It's interesting. Well, the thing I didn't know, Katie, is that there is a world out there that needs to be known. They are professional virtual drivers. And we're starting to hear about it, but they are actual professional virtual drivers that are part of a team.
Yep.
And those team, it's just like Team Penske in the real world. They have sponsors, they go to events, they
Yeah.
win races, and they make money. So
And they pop bottles and they do all the victory celebrations as well. Yeah.
exactly.
In
So,
real life.
it's actually interesting because the other day I was asked, what do you think my son should do to get into racing? And I said, well, listen, I've just discovered that if you're really good at driving and if you think your kid's got talent, try him out in virtual world because it won't cost you that much. If he's good, it's going to show. And then it's also going to teach him how to drive properly and then if he's good, you can spend the money and try and see if he can be a professional real driver.
Do you think that shift will happen? Do you think we will see people who are maybe developing and growing within sim racing to become drivers in IndyCar and NASCAR?
I think
Do you
so.
think that's something people are going to be willing to take a shot on?
I think so. I think it's still a bit far away, but I think with what's happening now, there might be a realization.
Mm-hmm.
And the more virtual drivers will get a shot at driving the real car and do well, the
Mm-hmm.
more that will how do you say Uh,
So I want to help you. Sounds like,
Help me.
looks like move into, shift into, grow into, develop. I don't.
Something like that. Moving to develop. That's good. That was
I'm trying
very
to get there.
creative. Very
I'm
creative.
trying.
So yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
and that's what I wonder if that's going to have a shift. If we'll see that shift from these guys who you're right. This career does this life does exist. I covered the Forza Racing Championship, which is esports, but it was controller based over the last couple of seasons. And wild that these people and you know what's even cooler about this is these drivers, as we call them, are like gods in their industry, right?
Yeah,
People look up to them.
absolutely.
They aspire to be them. They watch them. I don't know about you. Some of my favorite, one of my favorite drivers to watch is a guy named Box because he, in the comfort of his own home, you know, he's shirtless and he takes his shoes off and he's sweating and he's into it. But when he comes to one of these championships, there's only so much you can do to make yourself feel comfortable again, not in your home environment. But the guy is like sweating and he's so into what he's doing. And these are controllers. And I think that shows kind of that same mentality that you drivers all have, which is drive, focus, determination. And it comes out in you in many different ways.
Yeah,
It's
it's true.
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And I tell you what, when I see when I mean, we know the names of those top guys, you know,
Yeah.
and when you get online and you just join a server on an online session and you see one of those names, you're like, ooh, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. Because they're you can't beat them. You cannot, even if you're a proper race car driver with experience and you're good at what you do on track, you will not beat a sim racer. No way. No way.
You don't think so? You really don't, and you really don't think so?
They're too good. They're really good at what they do. It's like, I mean, if they came and drove my car, I would probably do the same my way,
Yeah.
you know? So I just think, you know, you get used to your equipment, you get used to what you do every day, and
How,
you perfect it.
how much of your team is influencing what you're doing? I know that I heard you. You're breaking it down enough that you're labeling your wheel.
Yes.
That's cool.
Well, yes, when you don't have memory, you have to write things down. So
I'm I'm the same way. I have my books all over the place. I'm a
yeah.
writer. Yeah. That
So
makes sense. I
I,
respect.
we bought a label machine, so I thought I'm going to use the label machine to my good. So I labeled everything on my steering wheel last night, and it's really helping. So, but yeah, I'm getting way too into it. It's the competitive side of me for sure.
Do you think all the IndyCar guys though are feeling that same way? I mean, I think when I was talking to Rossi about it at the beginning of the season, of course I did not say that he was bad. He was saying that he would be glad if he was a 6 out of 10 on the scale, basically. And I say that because that has to hurt for him, right? Like that is a guy who at being a 6 out of a 10 is not something that he probably goes to bed very cool, calm, and collected with, even though it is iRacing. Same thing for you. Do you think it translates? So same desire to win, that same desire to be competitive, that same, would you get upset if you didn't do well?
Absolutely. That's
Kick
why I
rocks?
train
You
so
would kick
much.
rocks.
That's why I
You would
train
kick
so
rocks.
much. It's because it's not acceptable for me not to be good at what I do. So that's why I put so many hours into it. Because I would probably be at the back of the field if I didn't train. So I
Does your
also
team help
believe
you?
the team helps. They help with strategy. I've got Ben Bretzman, my usual race engineer, but it's more out of passion. He loves iRacing, so he wanted to be my spotter. So he does the strategy with me. But like today, I train on my own. He wasn't there. But he helps me with fuel consumption and understanding the strategy, which is something we wanted to work on over the winter anyways. So we're using it to get better in real life too.
Interesting. I find it fascinating. Okay, people are asking about Le Mans. People want to know what is, if anything, next. What's on your like target list? I mean, 5-10 year list. What do you hope to accomplish?
Um, well, I mean, I've accomplished my dream, which was winning Indy. Another one of my dream was to win the championship. That's done, but you obviously want to repeat that. My number one priority right now is Indy, 100%. And then someday I want to go back to Le Mans and race Le Mans and try to win Le Mans. That's I finished. Most people don't remember this, but I actually finished second in Le Mans in 2011. and it's the
What do they
closest
say?
margin
What do
in
they say? People
history.
don't remember second place or something? Isn't that
No,
like?
exactly. I did it, guys, and I can do it again.
See, I did it.
So yeah, that would be a dream of mine to, you know, just being able to tell my kids later on, hey, yeah, I won those races, the big races. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. So, and from a personal friends or anything you and Haley have on the horizon, you guys looking? I mean, whether it be kids, you sound, kids. Is there anything in your personal life you want to accomplish that's outside of racing? You want to own anything? You want to create anything?
Oh yeah, I think, at some point we'll have kids. Unfortunately, right now my career has been in the way. It's for me, I've always felt like I have to be so focused on what I do to be competitive that I'm scared to change that and get
Yeah.
focused on other things. So, at the
That's
moment,
very.
yeah,
It's and honestly though, like to be very clear, like every race car driver and a lot of athletes, they have that same fear, right? That is a
yeah,
but it's also what makes them good at their job. Is that's their motivation as well. Fear
yeah,
drives them.
it's like well, maybe it's a guy thing, but I struggle to focus at several things at once. But
I
but
think
yeah,
the PC way of saying that is compartmentalizing.
I
But
guess.
I think most women would wish you guys could do and more think a little differently.
Yes, I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact.
I think we all would agree with that.
Yeah,
Very much
it's
so.
yeah,
But that makes
not
sense.
my forte.
Yeah. Well, again, as long as we all recognize our weaknesses and our strengths, it's all good. I think that's an interesting angle though, and once you kind of get your mind wrapped around what you're doing professionally, then you can kind of move toward. And I know that I've talked to some people about that idea that the idea of hanging up the helmet in a sense, like starting something else, lets other people think you've lost that drive, which is maybe not true. But that idea that like if you go out and you start business elsewhere while you're also trying to drive, people
Yeah,
assume, oh, is that focus not there anymore? Does that guy not want it? Does that woman not want it like they used to?
yeah, that's true. And quite frankly, I believe in that too. I've had other business opportunities on the side, and I wish I could have taken it, but I just didn't because I thought. And my dad always told me, he said, "Hey, remember what's your number one job and focus on it." So when
Yeah.
I've been educated that way, so I guess it's in my core.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that for sure. Okay, anything else about the quarantine life? Have you cooked anything fun? Have you and Haley like
Um,
totally chefed it up?
no, we just started a ritual to walk every night, which is really
Saw
nice.
that post. Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
look pleasant. Y'all in
Um,
action and everything.
yeah, yeah. That was not on purpose, by the way. We just
Well,
came out of the dressing room dressed the same way. And Norman did, by the way. Norman too. He had his jacket on and he had the yellow jacket. So
yeah,
um, we started doing that. I've got to hang stuff on the wall.
yep. Well,
Uh,
new home.
yeah,
That's
and
good.
and I'm good with anything mechanical, but I'm not very good with walls. And
Is it the leveling that's a little off, or is it the
well,
hammering, or what?
yeah, I hate something that's not leveled or straight or symmetrical. So then the problem is it takes so much time to measure to get it right. And then of course you measure it, and that's going to be one of my pet peeve, one of my next pet peeve. You measure the wall, you manage to get the thing right in the center. Guess what? There's no beam behind to hang it right there. So what do you do? What do you do? And that's why
I'm
everything's on the ground.
I'm laughing because it took me so long to get those up there, this mirror behind me, because I was the same way. I was just like, I'm gonna sit with my mirror lopsided at that point, and I just don't think that's worth it. So it took me a very long time
I
to get
know.
motivated.
It's so yeah. It's you just want it in that space, and if it's not right there in that location, it's so annoying.
Respect. I was
Yeah.
talking with Tommy Kendall on Monday, actually on here, and TK was talking about the word efficiency, and I feel as though like it's just not efficient the way you have to measure and
No.
then go back and pick something up and and
Yeah.
he's like, drivers don't like things that are not efficient. We like efficiency, so I
Yeah.
can see how that might be a bit
I
of a
guess I didn't know it was because I'm a driver, but I think
maybe man.
yeah, probably.
Compartmentalizing the efficiency. I think we're defining what a man is.
Maybe we should
Sure.
start a business of a machine that could find the beams without you having to do anything.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
I will invest. If you figure that one out, I will help invest in that one.
My first investor. Thanks,
I
Katie.
got you. I got you. Well, before Instagram will kick us off here, but first I want to say thank you to you for joining, and sorry about the conundrum at the beginning, but we got it sorted. And secondly, I do want to say thanks to everyone who's out, not in the comfort of their home, not getting a chance to enjoy wine, not getting a chance to just catch up and talk. And I can't express my gratitude enough to them. Do you have anything to say to them?
Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you. You know, I leave it with my dad, for example, who's working at the supermarket every day, and I just want to thank you for supporting everybody else. And you don't get the credit you deserve. You know, it's the same in the hospitals, and you guys are risking your lives, and want to thank you very much for that. And know that we're behind you, and we respect you for everything you do.
Yep. Well, cheers to you. I hope you go. What do you guys go off to Motegi this weekend in iRacing?
Yeah, I've been trying to acclimate to the time change, the food, the sushi. Yes. Yeah, it's Japan. I've never been to Japan before, so
You never went to Motegi?
Never been. No. It's such a shame because I'm really interested in the Japanese culture, but never been. Someday.
Well, this weekend you should definitely. The best sushi I've ever had was at the racetrack. You know, like I don't know if you have not been there, but that racetrack had a sushi restaurant and an Italian restaurant, like on. The
I heard. So I'm gonna stop by this weekend.
You and Haley should get at least some sushi takeout to enjoy throughout the race weekend.
It's funny you said that before I go. Funny you said that. You know, we think we may be having withdrawal from sushi because we eat sushi like twice a week, and our sushi place is closed.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's been tough.
I bet you probably are. I mean, that's probably a real thing, and especially since y'all are going to Japan this weekend on iRacing. And Sam, I'm so sorry you can't enjoy the sushi.
It's not an easy time.
Thank you. Cheers to you, and we'll be in touch soon. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Katie.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone, for